What's up, you guys? It's Agile here. And today we are doing something completely unheard of on the channel. We're using notes. But basically we're going to be using some notes here that I made and talking about where Enshrouded is at very briefly in its life, I guess, and what my thoughts are on it. And then we're going to be going into the roadmap that the devs have just laid out for us here on what is coming in 2026. So very, very exciting stuff here. So if you guys don't know who I'm Agile. Basically, we do a lot of Enshrouded content on this channel nowadays. We have a lot of different builds, which is primarily what we focus on here, but we also cover news and updates and then some various adventure stuff and new biomes when they come out and all that good stuff. So a lot of Enshrouded stuff on the channel here. But basically, let's basically break down where Enshrouded is at first here. And so Enshrouded has gotten a lot of major updates here as of recent. And I think overall, I just want to go ahead and say right off the bat here that the developers of Enshrouded, Keen Games, are amazing. Like, to put into perspective, I think they're probably top 5, maybe even top 3 development companies right now in my list. They listen to their community, they take feedback from their community, and they implement in changes quickly, and they have a very nice, polished game. They have a very unique game, and they just keep adding in more and more awesome stuff to it here. And like I said, they listen to their community, which is a fantastic plus to the actual gaming community world right now. Like, many companies are pretty greedy nowadays, in my opinion, and I think that it's just a breath of fresh air when you have a company that actually listens to its community and implements not only stuff that the community wants in, but then goes above and beyond with that kind of stuff as well. But apart from that, though, basically Enshrouded is, it's a huge map already. It's a big world, and it's got voxel building and destruction in it, which is already unique compared to a lot of survival games. I mean, a lot of games nowadays we see kind of the quintessential Ark style build where, you can lay down a foundation, you can build snap to walls and roofing on it, and you can't really do much else in terms of customization of the world or the actual build itself. In Enshrouded, I mean, you can pretty much build whatever you please, and it's really the sky is the limit, and sometimes it is kind of honestly overwhelming a little bit. But you can go and check out our channel here and look at all the different builds that we've done here. Am I the best builder in the world? Absolutely not. But do we have a lot of fun building stuff freestyle together all the time? Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it, and like I said, it's so much fun just to see such cool creations from the community too pop up. And it's nice that the actual development team on their Discord encourages this kind of behavior by hosting events for building and whatnot. And also, the crafting system too is really fleshed out. I like that a lot about it. And then, all the different biomes and the fact that you can have so many players on a single world is really nice, and that you can bring your character over from world to world so you don't have to restart constantly like some survival games do when you're joining friends. But there are a few hangups for the game right now, which I think all of these updates for this next year are going to address. One of them being, kind of lack of super endgame content. It's still coming yet. This is 1.0. It's going to come out this year here, and that's really just the beginning of where the game is actually going to be going. I do believe the devs are super passionate about this project, and I think it's going to really grow into something amazing, something, truly one of a kind. And, right now there needs to be a few different balance updates, which I do believe are coming as well there. And one big one that is on my list here that I'm not sure a lot of people are concerned about, but there's no console release quite yet, but of course that is going to be talked about here in just a second. I have a lot of friends that play on console that I believe actually really would like Enshrouded, and I think Enshrouded is a great game for consoles because we already can use controllers in the game on PC right now. But basically, let's get going here. So we know that the very first major update for 2026, which is usually referred to as, version 0.8 here, just before the 1.0 launch here, it's all about really, making the experience better, laying the groundwork out for the full release of the game there, which basically comes down to kind of the boring stuff there with quality and polishing and basically just improvements across the board there. Things that you can expect from this update be like, super broad bug fixes across many of the quests, which I know a lot of the community has been concerned about, just with the overall quest system. They'd like to see some revamps with how quest share and XP works and whatnot. Of course, some more changes, enemy AI. They said that they want to make much smarter AI in the game, which would be awesome. I can't wait for that, because right now you can kind of script out a lot of the AI fights between the baddies, but they are planning on working on that as well, which is amazing. And then overall world generation and just how it performs, especially with larger bases and water. They are aware that, you know, water is basically really hard on the system right now, and so they do need to clean that up, you know, so that councils can actually use it if they are going to release to councils. And then they just want to make a cleaner inventory system management and, you know, better craft flowing, all that good stuff. So basically just quality of life updates there, which is important, but, you know, not the big stuff. So basically one of the first things that they're planning on releasing as well is going to be adventure sharing, is what they're calling it. This is a really big one. So basically think of Minecraft and how you can make a world and then, you know, basically take that file and share it with somebody else and they can load right into the world. Same thing as what the devs are working on for Enshrouded here. As I said, they focus a lot on building in this game, which is amazing because, you know, we love to build on this channel. But basically you're going to be able to make a build and then share that file with another player and they can load right into it, which is also going to be really good for, you know, content creators such as myself here and you guys, the community. If you guys want to make a build, I can go and check it out. And also the actual development team themselves host events all the time with prizes and stuff for different builds, so it's going to make it a lot easier for folks to review that way too. Basically, you'll be able to invite others to explore your custom locations, and then you can show off all your different bases and creative projects. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool, in my opinion. And then we get to some of the actual big ones. And, you know, this really brings us to the biggest milestone on the roadmap, which will be 1.0, which is going to be launching in the, it says autumn, but, you know, you could probably expect some fall stuff there too. I'm not sure if it's going to launch all at once because you know, it's listed as basically autumn 1.0 release, which is the majority of the year from the way it looks there. So after the quality of life update and the optimization there, in the 1.0 update there, they're planning on doing things like combat improvements for one. It's a big one there. So again, much better AI, you know, much more tactical depth there. Essentially better balancing, and they want to add in more types of enemies, which I think is a really good thing for the game. Right now we have a number of different types of enemies, but a lot of them are just kind of around the shroud and then the animals, right? And then we have a couple big baddie bosses too. I would like to see some more kind of roaming threats in the world, and if you don't like that, I mean, you can always just turn down the difficulty, I should say. But I'd like to see some harder enemies and stuff and some of the more advanced biomes and whatnot roaming. Right now we do have some roaming scavs and you know, at night, of course, you do have some of the shroud monsters coming out and whatnot, and of course the wildlife. But I'd like to see some harder stuff coming out, maybe like a shroud captain with a patrol out walking the main roads or something like that, or maybe actual maybe a toggleable option where you could turn on or off. That your base could actually be raided. You know, think of like a Minecraft raid where basically at random you can just get a raid on your actual base and you have to defend against it or something like that. Like maybe they can't destroy your base or anything like that, but they could come in and take you out and then maybe take some of your loot or something. I don't know. But just basically make a few different ways for the enemies to be a little bit harder. But right now they are planning on increased enemy variety, which I think is really cool. And you know, another big thing that is coming too there in the autumn release or fall release there, 1.0, it's going to be new locations to explore, some new enemies and essentially new puzzles to complete. Of course, they're going to have in there things like I believe the floating island castle thing is going to be available too. And so the map is already huge, right? Like we know that the map is ginormous, which is awesome. And they're planning on making it even bigger yet, which is cool too, for sure. But you know, I don't know. They have a lot of the biomes in already, and I know that they're not planning on stopping there either. But it would be really, really cool if we could actually get a few more biomes added in too, like some really unique ones, very fantasy inspired or something. That would be cool too. But I know they are planning on adding in some new locations and at least one more biome here in the 1.0 release. So now we basically move into the let me get to the right portion of my notes here. Version 2 of the adventure sharing there. So in the 0.8 update in the spring, that's version 1 there, where you can share your world with the community. And then in the 1.0 release, we do have adventure sharing in version 2. That's going to be interesting because they're introducing a bunch of more what they call logic-based systems, which is cool, and I think it's got a lot of potential. Especially for folks who want to actually maybe craft this stuff. It'd be cool if we could have the option to build different traps and stuff too. But essentially they're going to add in triggers and switches, more enemy spawners, traps and timed events, and logic and gates, which is really neat. So essentially what the devs are planning on doing is giving you a way to design custom dungeons, create puzzles, you know, and kind of make your own mini campaigns or boss fights, which I think is a big thing that's missing from the game right now. You know, we have a lot of these cool dungeons and stuff. They kind of try to introduce dungeons a little bit with the crypt hollows and all that stuff, but giving players the ability to actually craft dungeons would be really, really cool. And I think something that players would also like is kind of like a creative mode for Minecraft. So it doesn't, the devs did not list out a creative mode for the roadmap, but I would love it if there actually was something like that, so that you could go ahead and craft big dungeons easily, you know, for other players on your server or something like that, or your friends that are just joining in. But yeah, that is definitely something that's planned, and I am looking forward to that a lot. I do plan on doing some dungeon builds and stuff on this channel when we get to that point. And then, you know, lastly here, what they're planning on doing is releasing the console update. Okay, so that is the last thing marked for this year in 2026, and all they really list for that is the console players will join the fight, which is amazing, and I hope that they can get it polished down to work as good as it was on launch on the PC, because I had no problems with it whatsoever. So of course things are always subject to change and whatnot, but you know, I think Enshrouded is in a great place right now, and I think that if they polish first like they're planning on doing, then we're introducing in quality of life updates and optimization there, which is very, very important for making the way, or paving the way for console release. And then we're adding in some extra stuff like, you know, the combat improvements, and then of course the new biome and all that stuff. And then the way to really dive in and build dungeons and, you know, share your world and all that is really going to make a nice groundwork for when console players are able to join. That way, you know, PC players can kind of help out, and the community is great in this game too. Maybe not quite as good as No Man's Sky, but really good. And I think that a lot of players are more than willing, or will be more than willing, to help out new console players, and I hope that it does sell very, very well for Keen Games on the consoles, because that would be amazing. Maybe they could even work out like a Game Pass situation or something like that. Not sure about that. That's not official. Just my thoughts on it. And yeah, I don't know. I guess, in my opinion, Enshrouded is in a fantastic place right now. It's definitely up there for one of my favorite games probably ever at this point. And oh man, there's something that I just lost my train of thought. There was something I was gonna bring up too. Man, I'm gonna think about it later too. But anyways, yes, so we can go ahead and bring up the actual roadmap here for Enshrouded now. And so basically you can see there that you have the adventure sharing, the polishing, and then we move into the 1.0 release there with all the other updates that are coming with it. I did remember what I was going to say. The devs did mention as well that they're planning on doing some possible paid DLC expansions in the future, like say you know, maybe they have like a portal or something like that, and once you buy the DLC, you can access the portal and you can go to a whole new realm or something like that, which would be just absolutely amazing. And for this game, you know, typically I'm pretty leery of paid DLCs these days with how much of it we actually get for how little we get for what we pay. But, you know, of course, when you have a development team as awesome as this one, I definitely wouldn't mind paying for paid DLC expansions for this game. I just think that it's worthy of that, and I think that if it's anything from what they've done with the, you know, original early access here and then into 1.0, I think it's going to be amazing. And this is not the end either. The devs did mention this is just kind of the beginning here, essentially, of where they want to go. 1.0 is not going to be like, we're done, you know, we finished the game, let's move on to a completely different game or a different idea. This is just the beginning of the game. This is kind of where their foundation is. The early access and the 1.0 is going to be what they build off of for the future here. So I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us here. Every update that they have released so far has been killer, and I'm very, very excited to see what the future holds. But again, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you do like Enshrouded content, do look at the rest of my channel here and see some of the other builds that we've done there, or random content. I do typically stream as well, and we do Enshrouded a lot on the channel for streaming, and we oftentimes just kind of theory craft and build on the stream, just kind of hang out together, and yeah, just have a good time. But thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.